Well, hello there. I'm Mrsroedee, and I'd like to welcome you to Healthy Living with Mrsroedee. I want to begin by telling you a little bit about my channel. In my channel, I include videos for the most part about what I eat in a day. And in those videos, I give you information about the Nutrisystem plan, my WW personal points, Healthi Bites, Better Balance, what used to be the Weight Watchers Blue plan, and calories. And I show you what obviously I've eaten throughout the day. And I give you totals at the end of the video. Sometimes I also include a recipe in the video, or I do recipes separately that are related to healthy weight loss. And in some cases, those recipes have nothing to do with healthy weight loss. They would simply be recipes of things that I'm making for the holiday season, and also some traditional recipes that we make in my family. For today's video, I'm going to be talking about this week's WW meeting topic. I must begin by saying I am not an employee of WW. This is my interpretation of the meetings and only my interpretation, what I took from the meeting. And I am a paying member, have been pretty much since 2017. The reason I returned is because I do enjoy the meetings. I enjoy the Zoom meetings as well as in person. I have come to know a lot of people in WW that are members and coaches and guides. And I think that it's a great source of support for me as well as enjoyable to me. So I've decided to make some videos week to week to share, again, my interpretation of the meeting topic. So this month we're celebrating your journey. That is what the topic of the month is. And this week's technique, as it's called, is listing all of our reasons why we should say no, or reasons to say no to a particular, I would imagine, for me, it would be food like pizza, or if I'm going out, it won't be alcohol, but it will be turning away from the foods at a festival that we might be going to, let's say, or an event, that type of thing. And also, in the case of pizza, it could be overeating the pizza, because there are always ways that we can fit something into our plan. If we are not actively really into the weight loss, for instance, I'm in maintenance now, so it is easier for me to fit in something that I wouldn't have even thought about fitting in, such as going to the pizza shop and having a slice. I wouldn't have been doing that when I was in full weight loss mode. But now I am not in that. I'm in maintenance, so I am thinking about maybe going out and having a slice of pizza. So I can figure out how to have that slice of pizza without feeling like I've fallen off the wagon. But let's say I want to go for a second slice. I want to bring a slice home and have it later. That is when I feel I need to say no. I need to set limits. And what are my reasons for doing that? For me personally, it's because I want to continue to be at a healthy weight. I want to continue to keep the healthier habits regarding food that I have been working on and continue to work on. So if I have that second slice, I will be jeopardizing those things, and I don't want to do that. Now, pardon me, will the world end if I have the second slice? Well, I don't think it will. If I have that second slice one time, I certainly would have to have it much later in the day, because I do have a lap band, and so I can't have more than one, even sometimes a half a slice, and I bring the other half home, and I do have that later because I can't fit that all in. So in terms of how we look at these things, let's look at it from the point of our yeses instead of our nos. And we should be specific about that if we're going to think about this. Why not to have it? Because the positive side of not having it is I stay on maintenance plan in a healthier way. It does not cause me to now, if I have that second slice later, maybe tomorrow I decide I want to have pizza again, as opposed to now I have a slice every once in a while, or maybe once a week. It could put me in a downward spiral, which I don't want to happen. I don't want to undo my habits that I am trying to incorporate into my life the healthy habits that I've been working on. And also, I am at goal weight, so I want to continue to be at goal weight. So instead of looking at it as I'm missing out, which is usually what we do, I know for myself, I feel like I'm missing out. This past weekend, I just decided that I felt like I was missing out, and I just went totally, I mean, everything went to the wayside. Didn't track, didn't pay attention, definitely carved myself to death. And now I'm paying the price because I really do not feel well, because that's what happens when I eat too many sugary carbs and fat, which is usually they all go together, right? I had like a cider donut top of cannoli cream. For goodness sake, if that wasn't bad enough, I also had pizza. So over this past weekend, and I had a tremendous amount of bread type stuff. So for me, and didn't have the healthier options along with it. So now I have what I call wheat belly, which is terrible. So now I have to work that out for myself and backtrack and start to, as I did today already, go in the healthier food direction and just put this behind me, which I strongly encourage everyone who does have this type of experience. Just forget about it. Don't dwell on it. Just keep on going. And again, that would be instead of looking at things as the fear of missing out, if we have something in front of us or we are in a situation where there is temptation that we really want to avoid, think about the joy of missing out on those things. The joyous part is we stay on plan. For me, I feel healthy, which right now today I do not. Yesterday was miserable. So I look at it as if I didn't have all of those things, I could have still had some of those things. I did not have to go totally off the bandwagon and have this carb, sugary, fatty party, which ended up, it's like, to me, I equate it to having like a hangover. I don't drink. So for me, it's a carbohydrate hangover. It is miserable for me. So if I had not made I made those choices on my own. I did not, I can't even say I was having a fear of missing out. I wasn't fearing missing out. I deliberately just wasn't going to miss out. I was going to join in with everybody else there. And believe me, when you go to these events, if you ever sit and watch, it's really a good learning experience to just sit and watch what other people are doing. They're there because, let's face it, you go to events, people are eating and drinking. What else is there to do there? You're listening to music, you're eating and you're drinking. If it's not that you're going hiking or kayaking in a group, basically these events that we attend is about eating and drinking. It's all about that. And that's fine if you keep things in moderation. But if you are if your mindset is that you fear you're missing out, as opposed to you're feeling the joy of missing out, if you can put it in your head that way and say, well, tomorrow morning I'm going to wake up, I'm not going to have lead belly, wheat belly. I am going to instead be experiencing my healthier habits. I'm going to be experiencing, in other words, my body will be experiencing what happens when I keep my healthy habits. My body's going to feel good. And I'm not going to have that feeling of being in a fog, like a carbohydrate fog, and feeling like total garbage. I'm certainly not going to want to be feeling guilty the next day, because then we play that mind game, which I am really good at getting rid of. I have to say, I have developed that healthy habit. For me, that is a healthy habit. Once I go off, I put that behind me. I have no time to be thinking about that. My scale went up 4 pounds, and I don't have time to be worrying about and focusing on guilt over what I did, because I made that choice. Okay, so now what I'm doing instead is what I always have learned to do, is just put that behind me and go right back to where I'm supposed to go and do all my good positive things that I've accomplished within myself, which is to eat right, to feel right, and to be healthy. And so today, my mind was in that game. My mind is in the joy of missing out. Okay? That is where I've put my head in that joy of missing out mode. It is not in the fear of missing out mode anymore, where I'm just going to keep shoveling in the things that are going to make me feel like crap. So, turn your focus on things that you won't be experiencing is part of the joy of missing out kind of thinking. And so, instead, you turn it around, if you can do that. It's something to think about working on. What will you do instead of having fear of missing out? You will focus on your healthy habits and maybe meeting your goals. It could really be anything. It should be specific. And the things that when you do your self-talk, that you're telling yourself, that you're talking to yourself about, make these things specific to you, not what I do to be specific to you. They have to be your own personal things that you are telling yourself. We all tell ourselves different things. Everything doesn't, the hat isn't a one size fits all. What works for me may not work for you. I hope it does work for you if you try it, but you may have to figure out, based on your lifestyle and what your plan is for getting healthy, what works for you. But the bottom line is that we all have to have some healthier habits and developing in order for us to, once we even reach our goal, to stay there. That's when it comes to me to be even more critical. Because when you're muddling through and you're in your plan, you have that beginning, you're all excited, you start to see the weight come off, and that motivates you to lose more weight, and you're feeling better, and then that carries you over. And sometimes you stumble and go backwards, but then you have what it takes to get yourself to continue to go forward. Eventually, you find your way to get there, and those are the things that are going to ultimately keep us there. Those new habits that we are able to form. It may take us some time. It took me a year. 2 days ago was a year that I started to really freak out and say, God, you need to find something to fix this because you're going very bad. And fortunately, I can't even tell you, one thing led to another thing. I put it out there that I was going to do it. I never gave up. Even if I stumbled and I went backwards, I continued to get up, dust myself off, and go forward. And I'm here to encourage you to do the same thing, because you can do this. If I can do this, you can do this. There is nothing special about me. I'm just like you. I'm a person who has the fat gene, as my son calls it. He named it the fat gene, whatever you want to call it, whatever works for you. We call it the fat gene. So I've been battling this fat gene since I was 8 years old. I am 62, just turned. So I have been morbidly obese. I've said this many times, at least 3 times in my life that I remember counting. And you don't get a lap band because you feel like getting one. You have to meet criterion. And unfortunately for me, I did. I've had this lap band since 2007, and it is a tool. It is a tool that you can choose to use or not choose to use, but you definitely should not abuse, because if you abuse it, usually you have big problems. And fortunately for me, I have not abused it as that much, I'm going to say, to have problems. I've managed to sustain having this in my body and using it as a tool when the rest of me is where it needs to be to use that tool, which is this part. Always go back to this part. And the discussion of listing all the reasons that we should say no in a positive way comes from up here. You switch it around, you look at it, fear of missing out, and you turn it into joy of missing out. And if you can focus back onto that, even if you go off for a day, even if you go off for a meal, teach yourself to go back to that way of thinking. If you can do that, you're 90% the way there. And does that mean you're not going to go backwards in the journey here and there? No, it does not. It simply means you are developing those tools that are going to get you over that mountain. And it feels like a mountain. And boy, it is rough climbing up to the top of that mountain. And it's not always so easy when you start to go the other way down. Sometimes it gets harder. And What you do is you keep on trying. If you keep on trying, you're going to eventually get there. Forgive me, I have to refer to my notes because you know I go on tangents. If you've been watching me for a while now, I do that easily. So there's no sugarcoating saying no here. I'm never going to sit here and tell you personally, if this meeting was telling me something in a sugar-coated way, I'd be not listening, and I would never share that to you. This is nothing to be sugar-coated. It is not easy to say no. At times, it's easier sometimes than other times, but if we recognize what we're getting in return for replacing missing out, the fear of missing out with the joy of missing out kind of thinking, then we should be celebrating. Whenever we can do that, however big or small that accomplishment is, we should always be celebrating our achievements. And any new habit that we develop, for instance, I'm going to go over this with you. We should honor every win. And I have talked about this before on my own. Did we track today? Let's celebrate that we tracked. Did we track one meal entirely today? You have to sometimes grasp onto, however small it may be, one success of the day. It is very important to do that because that is ultimately how you get to where you need to go in this journey. Okay? If you don't do that, or know that is something that is important to be celebrated, is what I should be saying to you. That every little thing counts and should be celebrated. Did you drink all your water today? Did you drink 20 ounces even of your water today, if need be? Did you make at least one healthy choice today? Did you do one little thing? I bet you did. You may not be thinking about that. You may be trashing yourself and saying, oh, I screwed up this whole day. I know, I've been there. I've done that. I totally know. So I may as well just eat all night long now because I overate or I ate some things that are not on my plan to eat, whatever my plan is. And now I'm just going to continue on that path and just go all the way and trash the day. Sound familiar? Bet it does. It does to me. So instead of doing that, let's turn it around and let's say to ourselves, is there one healthy thing I did today? I bet you can find one healthy thing. Bet you can. You may have to look really hard, but you can find one thing, I bet. And if you haven't found one, please put it in the comments and tell me you are so wrong, Ro. You don't know a thing what you're talking about. I couldn't find one healthy thing. I bet you there is one healthy thing in your day if you look hard enough. Okay, so again, looking at what is going right in our day. Okay, make a deal with yourself. Make one thing go right. Make a deal. You're going to do one healthy thing, even if the whole day is trashed and it's in the garbage. Okay, do one healthy thing. Drink some extra water. Because then you can tell yourself you did one healthy thing, which is really important in turning your thinking around and getting you back so that tomorrow you're going to wake up and you're going to start your day on the right foot. And even if you do one healthy meal tomorrow, you will have done one healthy meal and be that much closer to doing 2 or 3 healthy meals in the day and 2 healthy snacks. If you snack, okay? Trust me on that one. Tomorrow you will focus on one healthy meal. If you are that down in the trenches in your head and in that bad a place, and again, these are things that do happen to us. They are part of the journey. If they are not here and there part of the journey is eventually, there will be a problem. And for some of us, it may be such a problem that we may just go off and never come back on for another 6 months. And undo everything we've done. So if we have little stumbles in the road, sometimes it's better than to have a big, gigantic, fall off the wagon. What did they say? Go down the hill and the thing, set it on fire. I've seen people write that in Facebook groups, right? Sound familiar? So let's focus on, if we can, one healthy thing that we're going to do for today or tonight as you're watching this. If today went really bad for you, and if it didn't go bad for you today, that's a great, wonderful thing. Be proud of yourself. Rejoice in yourself and your accomplishment, because that is important, to think about the good. So that way we can also prepare for a day that isn't so good. I can say, hey, you know what? I screwed up myself all this weekend. I did it on purpose. I didn't care. Okay. And oh my goodness, the scale went up 4 pounds, 5 pounds, whatever it was. Okay. Which it did. It went up. I'm not here to tell you it didn't. I was 135 this morning. Okay. So what is that? It could even be 6 pounds. I don't know. I'm not even counting. I just know it's up, and that isn't a good thing. But what I could do is, oh my God, I'm just going to keep shoving it in. I'm going to keep eating. I'm going to keep punishing, because that is also a form of punishment for myself. I view that way. I'm just going to punish myself now. I'm just going to shove it all in. I'm not going to care. Or I could say, hey, you lost almost 30 pounds since August 14th of 2021. You did a lot of things right. Did you do them every single day of this last year? Every single hour of every day? No. But you must have done an accumulation of things right to get to where you are. And I'm going to say the same thing to you. If you took off any weight at all in the last year, okay, if you made an effort to try to take off an ounce, I don't care what it is, you have made that effort. And that is a positive thing in your life. It's more than if you didn't make any effort at all, because I looked at it as this. When I was 160 pounds last August 14th of 2021, I was just looking to keep from gaining. I said, if I could just stop the gain, I'm going to be that much ahead of the game. I wasn't thinking about the weight loss at that point. I never did this in my life. Never had that mindset. I just need to stop gaining. And when I stopped gaining, that gave me incentive to continue, to the point of where I kept saying, okay, I'm maintaining. There's hope. I stopped gaining. I have hope now. And now I was losing 0.2 here and then 0.4 there. And I was saying, oh my God. And then I was having to maintain. And this is how it went for the entire time. Every single time I celebrated, it was a maintain. Oh, thank you, Lord. I wasn't one that at this point, now this hasn't been me all my life, but in this last year, it's been me. And this is who I am now. I would say, oh, glory be to God, I maintained this time. I weighed myself in the scale. It's a maintain for the week or whatever it was, because I weigh every day. Okay. And that's how I did it. So if I can encourage you to be able to try and turn your mind, and I did it, mine came out of desperation. I'll be very honest with you. It did not come from, this is how I'm going to set my goal. It came from a place that I don't care to return to anytime soon. But it ends up turning everything into a positive for me. So sometimes we do have to go to the rock bottom to find our way out of that and to get ourselves out of that hole and to build ourselves up again. So look at what you're doing right. I'm going to leave you with that thought. And I'm going to also tell you about STAR. About setting a goal for yourself this week, however small it may be. Keep it small. It's fine if it's small. And make that goal truly doable and relevant to your healthy journey plan. And on that note, I'm going to say goodbye for now. I'm going to thank you. If you made it this far, beyond 20 minutes, almost 25 minutes, thank you so much. I hope that you find this video helpful in some way. If you think somebody else might find it helpful, please share. And please make sure you join our Facebook group. We'd love to have you. We have a great group of people in there. Everybody's very supportive. It doesn't matter what plan you're on. We'd love to have you. And I will look forward to seeing you again in the next video that I make for you. Thank you again very much, and goodbye for now.